don't think the baseball analogy is sufficient today. Hey, what do you hear? What do you say? My Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Google+, your sister's ass, the Pony Express, Vic Dibitetto here. So, I was sitting around doing nothing and having a little do and some nice wine, and I started thinking about the numbers game. What's the numbers game? Remember we were kids and teens and we were taught that numbers related to different body parts and bodily functions? You know what I mean. Making pee-pee was called making a number one. Mommy, I have to go to the bathroom. What are you making? I'm making number one. And then making a poopy was called making a number two. Simple enough, right? And just a thought, I never understood why farting and puking were never assigned numbers. And for that matter, neither was ejaculating. But I guess your mother would never ask, what are you doing in the bathroom? What are you going to say? I'm doing a number 5, Ma. Oh, okay. Wash your hands afterwards and don't put it on your sock. Anyway, then as we got a little older, the numbers were assigned in a different way. We learned that the vagina was the number 1 hole. The pooper was the number 2 hole. And then the mouth was called the third input because it was potentially the third place a boy could put his male organ. Hey, look, I'm trying to be respectful here, okay? And for men, I guess there is no 1 hole, but 2 and 3 are technically very much still in play. Is everybody with me so far? I mean, this isn't complicated. And if you're starting to get offended, then you should leave right now because it ain't gonna get any prettier, I can tell you that. And I would hate to offend anybody by saying dirty words or mentioning dirty body parts. Anyway, so this is how the numbers game was played. For me anyway, until I was about 13 or 14. Then the numbers changed again. Somewhere along the line, someone decided to use baseball as the way to describe how a guy was progressing in his relationship with the girl. And it went like this. Now, I know you all know this. Well, maybe my Amish and Mormon friends don't. Anyway, follow along and learn something. If you were kissing or making out with the girl, it means you got to first base. Like kissing was like a base on balls, or a single, which is a nice thing to do in baseball and a nice thing to do with a girl. Then second base was when you were able to touch her boobies. That was a pretty big deal when you were a young teen. So in baseball terms, hitting a double was the same thing as touching a breast. And by the way, that was also called feeling a girl up, which I never understood because I wasn't feeling up or down. I was just feeling my way around. There was no particular direction. I was just so happy that I had my hand in a girl's shirt and I didn't give a shit about anything else. Anyway, okay, now, this starts to get a little intense. If you were able to somehow get your hand down a girl's pants or up their skirt, that was getting to third base. Hey, triples are rare, and when you're 14 and you have your hand in that area, that was pretty rare too. Oh, and by the way, no one, and I mean no one, knew what they were doing when they were able to get to third base. I mean, you'd start exploring that region and you can't see it. You just have your hand there, and it was like nothing I ever felt before. My friend asked me what it felt like, and I said, well, kind of like feeding a horse. Anyway, after third base, there was only one thing left to do. It was called getting to home plate or hitting a home run, and that was the ultimate grand prize. You got to home plate when you were able to put your ballpark Frank into her flounder bag. Again, I'm trying to be respectful here. Okay, so here's the deal. Now that I'm older, I don't think the baseball analogy is sufficient today. It doesn't offer enough diversity. I mean, there's a lot of other things going. Having a relationship isn't just about kissing and touching boobs and having a hand between a leg and actual penetration. There are way more things to do, and we've run out of bases if we stick to the baseball thing. What do we call oral sex? What do we call 69? What do we call a hand job or oral sex or all of those crazy positions like doggy style or the corkscrew or the pretzel dip? No. The baseball analogy is way too limiting. So I've given this a lot of thought and decided to use football to describe the evolution of the sexual encounter. Football just seems to make way more sense because the further along you go in sex, the further down the field you move. Here, follow me. Kissing isn't first base. Kissing is now 1st and 10 from your own 25. That's a simple start, and so is a touchback on a kickoff. Gabish? Okay, once you start with the bra and you're able to do something in that region, that's how 1st and 10 from your own 35. Hey, how'd you do on your date last night? I had a 1st and 10 on my own 35. Nice. Now, if you can get a hand job, you are now at midfield and driving because once that shit starts happening, you can argue both parties are pretty into it and you start to have eyes on the end zone because you've made it into your opponent's territory. It's like good field position. It's easy to score with good field position. Okay, now, once oral sex begins, you've moved down the field and entered the red zone because your chances of scoring go up significantly in the red zone and you can still run or pass. If the encounter turns into 69, then that is a 1st and goal to go, baby. I mean, come on. If that shit is happening, you can literally smell the end zone if you know what I mean. And of course, what's left? You know what's left. The punch that ball into the end zone for the score. And if it moves to a little keister poking, there's your 2-point conversion right there. And that's that. This isn't brain surgery. Look. We could get into some other stuff like premature ejaculation might be a false start, which is not being able to get in an erection should probably be getting sacked on 4th down because let's face it, if you can't get hard, you've given up possession of the ball, literally. And there's more if you think about it. There's so many things you can do in bed. So just remember how football works and just keep moving up and down the field and everything will be fine. Anyway, I think I covered it all. I hope this was helpful for you, especially for the Amish and my Mormon friends. And I guess the bottom line is, you have to be able to understand football to be able to apply it properly to your sex life. But to all you guys and gals out there who get it, I wish you all a good game with a lot of scoring, if you're lucky. An overtime period. Ha ha!